Center court, the All England Club. The grass is immaculate. The royal box is packed with tennis royalty, and 15,000 people have just witnessed something that no one saw coming. Iga Swiatek, the defending champion, the six-time Grand Slam winner, the woman who had not lost a match on center court since she lifted the Venus Rosewater dish 12 months ago. She was the overwhelming favorite, but standing across the net was a 21-year-old from Quezon City who had already beaten her before. A player who grew up hitting a tennis ball on a makeshift court painted over a basketball court. A player who wears a cap with an inscription that reads, "Once it grows, it cannot be stopped." Alexandra Eala, the number 29 seed, the first Filipina in history to be seeded at a Grand Slam. 7-6, 11-9, 6-2, a victory that sent shockwaves through the tennis world, a victory that made Eala the first player from the Philippines to reach the fourth round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. And after the match, the tennis world waited. They waited for the reaction from the man who built the academy where Eala was forged. They waited for the words of Rafael Nadal. What he said stunned everyone. This is the story of that moment. This is the story of how a 21-year-old from the Philippines stunned the defending champion. This is the story of what Rafael Nadal said about it all. Let's begin. The match was an instant classic. Swiatek struck first, breaking Eala's serve to take a 2-1 lead, but Eala immediately broke back. The momentum swung back and forth in a riveting opening set that lasted 84 minutes. Eala broke again for 5-3. She held her first set point, but Swiatek locked in, producing 3 consecutive forehand winners to escape and level at 5-5. The tiebreak was a thriller. Eala built a 5-2 lead. Swiatek fought back with a 4-point run to reach set point. Eala saved that with an unreturned serve. She saved another as Swiatek netted a forehand. Finally, on her 4th set point, Eala sealed it as Swiatek mishit a forehand long, 7-6, 11-9. The crowd erupted. The second set was a statement. Eala pressed her foot to the floor. She raced to a 4-0 lead. Her left-handed angles repeatedly pulled Swiatek out of position. Swiatek's quality dipped in and out as she rescued one of the breaks and gave it away in the next game. The final point came on Eala's 3rd match point, a forehand winner that left the defending champion with no answers. 7-6, 11-9, 6-2. Alexandra Eala had done the unthinkable. She dropped to her knees and rolled onto her back on center court. She gestured for more noise from the crowd. The defending champion had been dethroned. Swiatek finished the match with 44 unforced errors, and then Eala dedicated the victory to her younger self. "I went to train every day after school with my ruffled socks, light-up shoes, and chubby cheeks. To younger me, this is everything," she said. "This goes out to them, my family, and all the girls with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks." After the match, the tennis world waited for the reaction from the man who built the academy where Eala was forged. And when it came, it was simple, powerful, and unforgettable. The Rafa Nadal Academy described Eala's victory as a moment we'll never forget. The message was brief, but the weight behind it was staggering. The academy that has produced some of the greatest players in tennis history was declaring that a 21-year-old from the Philippines had created a moment that would be remembered forever. Eala's victory was not just a win for her, it was a win for the academy. A validation of the training, the mentorship, and the belief that had been invested in her since she arrived in Mallorca as a young teenager. Eala shows she has a very high tennis IQ and has been trained brilliantly well at the Rafael Nadal Academy, former British number 1 Greg Rusedski said. The sky's the limit for her. The connection between Nadal and Eala runs deep. In 2023, and 17-year-old Eala was presented with her graduation diploma from the Rafael Nadal Tennis Academy by none other than Iga Swiatek herself. The Pole was world number 1 and had just won her 3rd French Open title. She told the players assembled in front of her that she hoped they would give 100% to whatever they did in the future. "I hope you will be tenacious," Swiatek had said. "I hope no matter what you do in the future years, if you're going to do it the best way possible, I'm sure you'll have no regrets at the end." Eala took those words to heart. And 3 years later, she stood on center court, having beaten the woman who had presented her with that diploma. It's insane to think how much has changed in the past 3 years, Eala said after pulling off the major upset. But it wasn't just the Academy's message that stunned fans, it was the comparison that followed. The mentality is like Rafa, never say die from start to finish, gets the job done, finds a way, Greg Rusedski said. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. The mentality is like Rafa, the same fighting spirit that carried Rafael Nadal to 22 Grand Slam titles. The same refusal to accept defeat, the same relentless determination to find a way to win. This is somebody who's going to win the Wimbledon championship one day and possibly get to the top 5 in the world, Rusedski said. She is that good. What I was impressed with was her mental fortitude, her strength, her mentality. She was the one who looked like she had the 6 major titles. It wasn't Iga Swiatek who looked anxious, she was nervous. The comparison to Nadal was not just about her fighting spirit. It was about her tennis IQ, her ability to read the game, her anticipation. When Iga has time in the backhand corner with her forehand, it's always inside out. On the run, she can only really hit it cross-court. And you saw Eala anticipating where Swiatek was going to play at the big moments, Rusedski said. She is the real deal. She is a breath of fresh air. Eala, who trains daily at the Rafa Nadal Academy, impressed observers not only with her technique, but above all with her mental resilience, which in key moments failed the pole. She had absorbed the pressure admirably and played like a veteran. The victory over Swiatek was not just a win, it was a full-circle moment, a story that began 3 years ago at the Rafa Nadal Academy. In June 2023, Swiatek was the guest speaker at Eala's high school graduation ceremony. She gave a commencement speech in which she urged the graduates to be tenacious and give 100% to whatever they did. Eala took those words to heart, and on Saturday, she produced a brave, crowd-enthralling performance on Wimbledon's center court to stun the defending champion. Maybe for someone like Iga, who's won so many slams, or maybe for someone like Serena or Venus, this achievement may seem small. But for someone who grew up in the Philippines, I went to train with my brother and my grandfather every day after school, with my ruffled socks and light-up shoes and chubby cheeks, so to her, this is everything, a teary-eyed Eala said during a post-game interview. The Rafa Nadal Academy was watching, and they were proud. The message from the Academy, a moment we'll never forget, was a testament to the journey, the struggles, the victories, and the belief that had carried Eala from Mallorca to center court. Rafael Nadal's Academy had just produced a moment that would be remembered forever, and the man who built it was watching. Eala's victory was not just a win, it was a statement, a declaration that she had arrived. She became the first player from the Philippines to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. She is now 7-4 against top 10 opponents, including 3-0 on grass this season and 2-1 against Swiatek. But the victory was about more than rankings. It was about belief. It was about validation. It was about showing the world that a 21-year-old from a country with no grass court tradition could conquer the biggest stage in the sport. Eala's next challenge will be against number 13 seed Jasmine Paolini in the 4th round. She has beaten Paolini once before in the Dubai 2nd round earlier this year. Obviously, because I'm emotional does not mean I'm satisfied. So next round, Eala said. The Rafa Nadal Academy had seen it all. They had watched Eala grow from a promising junior into a Grand Slam contender, and now they were watching her write history. The sky's the limit for her, Rusedski said. She is the real deal. And Rafael Nadal's Academy, the place where she was forged, had just declared that her victory was a moment we'll never forget. The tennis world was watching. The fans were divided. The debate was raging. But one thing was certain. Alexandra Eala had arrived, and she was just getting started. And that, my friends, is how a 21-year-old from Quezon City walked onto center court and stunned the defending champion, Iga Swiatek, the six-time Grand Slam winner. The woman who had not lost a match on center court since she lifted the Venus Rosewater dish. But Eala was not afraid. She had beaten her before. She knew she could do it again. And she did. Her victory was a moment her academy would never forget. A moment that proved the mentality of Rafa Nadal lives on in the next generation. This is the rise of a phenomenon. This is the rewriting of tennis history. And trust me, this is only the beginning.